Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending. In case you aren't aware, we will be going over Revit, BIM 360 design, and Revit models in the cloud today. So hopefully that's what you were planning on watching. Let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, there is a questions box in the webinar panel. At any point during today's webinar, if you feel you have a question, go ahead and ask it as they come up. And if I see it pop up, I'll answer them as they go. It's typically the best way to do it. As you guys are thinking of the questions, I'd rather, answer them and get your questions answered. Do not use the chat box. I will not see that. And then the questions, we can actually keep a tab of what questions are being answered. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So we are Microdesk. Microdesk was founded in 1994. We were founded as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission to assist AECO firms and GIS firms with improving workflow and integrating project delivery technologies. 25 years later, that mission still holds true today. Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm. We have over 13 offices in the US and UK, and then we also have over 200 AECO consultants that come from the industry. We are backgrounds in architecture or mechanical engineering, structural engineering, plumbing, even contractors and owners reps. Urbanization suggests that US will build 114 cities the size of Boston over the next 30 years. So Microdesk, we make it our mission to help make sure that, firms, the AEC firms in the industry are prepared to meet those demands. By using software from industry leaders such as Autodesk and IBM, combined with our vision and passion for sustainability, meeting the demands of urbanization, our team of consultants that come from the industry, we redefine the project delivery and asset management process utilizing these software. As part of that delivery process, Microdesk, we do offer consulting services, whether it be just modeling, enterprise and strategy and workflow assessments, technology management, mentor support on projects as they come up. We can help mentor teams out with their BIM deliverables, and then application development. We do have a full application development team. A little bit about me. I am a senior consultant here at Microdesk. I've been with Microdesk for a couple of years, quite a few years now. I have over 12 years in the AECO industry, background as a structural working with structural engineering firms. I am a BIM and cloud technology expert. I have implemented Revit, BIM, multi-platforms successfully into multiple firms, and certified professional Revit user. So when we talk about Revit and BIM 360, Autodesk has used the term connected BIM before, and we like to follow along with that because it is connected BIM. So what is connected BIM? Connected BIM is you're connecting those internal and external project teams with real-time project data from anywhere in the world, anywhere where you can get internet access from. The Revit collaboration, which is the BIM 360 design with all disciplines involved in projects in the cloud. It can either be live linked or controlled linking. There's different aspects of linking, and we'll get into that. And it's a project center of centrally located project data to be accessed in the cloud, and it's all permission-based access based off of whoever the admin is on each of the projects. So who can benefit from it? Pretty much anybody. You're talking designers, project managers, superintendents, and all the way even to owners. It gives you easy access regarding, depending on whatever platform you plan on using, a desktop, a laptop, iPad, Surface, even your mobile phone, and it connects everybody. And it does follow the SLC2 certifications for security clearances. And it's very easy to integrate and train on. It's very user-friendly. A lot of the field guys that are out there, working on the iPads, the user interface on the iPad is the same as the user interface on the desktop or the laptop. And it's very transferable information from one to the next. And it offers that 2D and 3D support, whether it be PDF, Word documents, Excel, CAD drawings, Revit, Navisworks, whatever it may be, it has the viewer to support all of those. So a couple of the main products of BIM 360 that we're going to be going over today that work well with Revit is Docs and Design. Docs can be, for all project stakeholders who need controlled access to information within the cloud and from anywhere. And then Design is for those team members who need that cloud collaboration for their Revit models, and that they can track their deliverables and do submittal tracking within the cloud as well too. So we'll start with Docs because everything is built off of BIM 360 Docs. Within Docs, you have version and control, document, control, publish the drawings to Docs. So people who don't necessarily have Revit can view information in BIM 360, whether it be from their iPad or their desktop. Being able to mark up drawings and publish those globally to the team so the team can see those markups, or doing issue tracking within BIM 360. Is like I said before, there's also 2D and 3D support. And then jumping over to BIM 360 Design. Having that Revit model in the cloud, being able to connect all those project teams, not having to do that weekly model sharing effort that if you're used to working on Revit on a local network, and then your project teams, you have to take the package, button up the model, send it off to your project teams, whether if you're the architect, you're sending your model off to your mechanical, your MEP firms, your structural firms, and then you have to get their models and then clean them up and link it in. So it's that Revit co-authoring aspect in the cloud. The deliverable exchange doing that. Controlled work sharing, it works the same way in the cloud as it does on your local network. As soon as someone touches an element, they own that element, and that cloud work sharing functionality is still there. The milestone tracking and obviously team collaboration. Okay, so I'm not going to bore everybody with just doing PowerPoints. We're going to actually dive in. And I will start in Docs. So this is I work in Docs on a regular basis. I work in BIM 360 Design on a regular basis. All my projects I start are always on BIM 360 Design because of the 13 offices that we have across the country. But I also have it that I like to access my projects anytime from anywhere because I'm always on the go. So anywhere where I can get internet access, I can usually access my project data. So this is your main hub of BIM 360 Docs, and you have two portions to Docs, which is plans and project files. And the way I like to equate these for people is that plans are any CD set, IFC sets, your actual drawing sets that go out for construction or review, whatever it may be. Those are the ones that get uploaded here to plans, and then all of your other files get uploaded to the project files location. So this is where your Revit models are going to live. This is a folder structure that I found works well for me. It depends on, this is a user preference at this point for project files, how you're going to organize your Revit models. The one thing that I do suggest is having your teams, and we'll get into that, why teams are important, working with teams and Revit models. But as you can see here, we have our architectural model, an electrical coordination model up here, as well as structural. And then we have other miscellaneous files up here as well too. So the first thing that I usually do is I get my Revit folder structure up and running within Docs, and then I go ahead and I add my teams to it. So you can see here, I'm in the project admin for my BIM 360 project for that project, and I'm under my services in the design collaboration portion. So I have to add these teams because that's where my Revit models are going to live. And there's multiple reasons why this is important. One being different aspects of linking. Another one is if you want to set a published schedule to any of these models that are up here, that it automatically publishes your Revit models on, a weekly basis on which day you want it to and then what time. So you can set those published so you don't have to go out there and actually publish these models manually the way that C4R used to work. So I have an example up here where I already have my project teams set up with architectural, electrical coordination, MEP design, and structural. When you set up these project teams in document management, what it's going to automatically do is create a shared folder with these teams set up in the shared folder. And then it's also going to automatically create this consumed folder here within your team folders that you have set up. So now you can see I have a lighting folder in here where I didn't specifically set this up in teams. So there's no consumed folder and there's no shared folder. So I manually created this. And that's okay. You can always come back through under your project management and click add team. And if you've already added your folders, you can navigate to where that folder is. And you can see once a team has been set up, it's not going to allow me to select those. So I have all those other teams already in here. So I can go ahead and click on my lighting team and add that team to this project. So now what it's going to do is it's going to create that consumed folder. It's going to add that lighting team to my shared folder. So once I go back into document management and do a refresh, now I see that consumed folder here under my lighting team. And then I also see that lighting team added to my shared folders. So why this is important is the very first reason is the linking aspect. There are 3 separate ways to link models in BIM 360. And I have a pull-up up here from Autodesk. So on the Autodesk Knowledge website, they have this laid out very well for the 3 separate aspects of linking. The first one being controlled shared for the consumed method. So within BIM 360, that is where that consumed folder comes into play. And you have to be under the design collaboration hub. So when you're in BIM 360 docs, you click on this and you go to your design collaboration hub over here, and it brings you into here where you see your teams. Now here is where you can create those packages and set up the different linking aspects. So I'm going to go ahead and create a package. And I'm going to select my Revit model here, and I'm going to hit save. And it's going to save that, and I can click share at this point. So, and then I give it a package name. Excuse me. And I'm going to call this the initial model share. And you can add a description to the team, and then you can set it to a document set when you create these document sets, whether it be, you know, a 50% DD, 100% DD, 50% CD, ISC set, whatever it may be. We can create those document sets in the docs and then actually add these to the set. But it's just the initial model share, so I'm going to go ahead and click share on the initial model share, and it's going to share that package. And what it does is it goes through and actually places a copy of this model in the architectural shared folder. So this is the, after it's been shared, it goes into this architectural folder, and now all my other teams can choose to consume it. That is where this first method of linking comes into play. So when I'm out into the design collaboration, now I'm going to pretend I'm going to be the structural team. I can see this package here from the architectural. They have shared this package, and when it shows as a void circle, that means I haven't chosen to consume this yet. So I can go ahead and click on this package and click consume it. It's going to tell me I'm about to consume this and bring this into my team space. Is that okay? Yes. Once I choose to consume this, you can see it fills in the circle, so it lets me know that I've actually chosen to consume this model. So, and then I go into my specific structural consumed folder, and I can see it automatically added the architectural team to my consumed folder, and it automatically copied that architectural model into my consumed architectural team folder. Now, this is important because of the 3 separate ways of linking. This being the one of them where when I am in Revit, I can actually choose to path, and I will pull up Revit. Not that one. Yeah. So when I'm in here, I can go under manage links, and my structural folder, I can choose to, or actually link it in there. So I'll go to insert, link Revit. Wait for this to load. I would have to choose to do it from that consumed folder. Just navigate to where you have that. So you choose to path it from that consumed folder. So now it's more of a controlled aspect of your design teams are controlling it. Whenever they hit that consumed button, it's going to consume that model, place that Revit model in that consumed folder, and then that'll be the link path that your teams work on. So that all gets dictated at the beginning of a project. Typically, you know, whoever's running the project at that point, usually the architects do, they dictate whether it's going to be live linking, consumed linking, or shared linking. The second method being shared, which is I just mentioned, controlled linking from the shared folder. So that's any time from the design collaboration, if I'm the architectural team and I create a package, anytime I click this share button, that's going to push that shared model to those teams out into that shared folder. So they can actually link to models directly in that shared folder as well, just like they can the consumed. So it's whether you want your structural engineer or your mechanical engineer to manage their own anytime that they see the updates for the consumed, or anytime the architect pushes the share button, do they see those updates? So that depends on which folder that they're going to be pathing to within document management, whether it's the consumed or the shared method here. And then the third one, last one being live linking. You can link directly live to the live cloud models from all of your design teams within document management. So that is, if I'm the architectural team, I have my live cloud model here, and I can link it live directly to the live structural model within the structural team folder here. So I'm actually seeing anytime that they hit the collaborate button within Revit, anytime they sync up their changes, I will actually see those changes live anytime you hit that sync button. So anytime you hit that sync button, it goes out to BIM 360, and I'm actually saving. I'm in the electrical coordination model currently, and I can click OK and choose to publish that latest data. And then anybody that's linked live to my electrical coordination model here, they'll see that those updates as soon as they hit reload latest or synchronize to central. So that is why your project teams are important, because it controls the different methods of linking, as well as the schedule publish. So the schedule publishing is what we'll get into next. If I'm in Revit and the C4R way, if anybody's used to the old C4R on A360 team, you had to go onto the collaborate, update your publish settings here, set up a publish set, click the set and choose what you wanted to publish from that set, hit save and close, and then go out to manage cloud models, go into your project, and then actually publish this data from whichever model was out there. Sometimes it can be a nuisance, and that's why BIM 360 is excellent for having that automatic publish setup. So you don't have to remember to come out here and do this. So you can see here, I would have to come out here and publish the latest. That's the manual way of actually coming out here to publish this data. And the reason why that's important is anybody that is viewing these models in the BIM 360 viewer itself only sees the published data. They don't actually see the live Revit models that stops you from, if it's the owner that's going in on the iPad and doing the model, you have information in your live model you don't necessarily want your owners or your project teams to see just yet, until you actually publish the data out there. So if you were to actually click on this model right here, it opens it up in BIM 360 in the viewer, so you can actually see the Revit model. I'm actually seeing the architectural link and everything in there. And I choose which data that I want to publish from those published settings within Revit. When I let me get back there. When I go back to here and I go to publish settings, right here is where, which views I'm going to publish ends up what's showing out here in my sheets and views list. So you can see here, I didn't select any 2D sheets or any 3D views except for my default 3D view to get published. So that's the only thing that gets published. And then out here, your owner can come up and do markups, do your issue tracking, and we do a really good BIM 360 docs overview that kind of really dive into this. At some point, we're going to stick with the Revit aspect of it for today. Okay, so that is the manual aspect of publish. Going into the teams and setting up your schedule publish is going in weekly, and then I typically found that it's really good to do this on a Monday and I do it at 2 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever it is, before people actually get in the office or my teams actually get out and in the field on a Monday morning. I want to go ahead and schedule this on a Monday at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I go ahead and hit this slider up here, and it's actually going to see now that there is actually a weekly publish set up for this. So now this is going to automatically publish every Monday at 2 a.m. So my field guys that are working in here, I can set up the same thing for my electrical coordination, for my electrical subcontractor in the field. When they pull this up on the iPad, they'll see this, that update every Monday. And then if I need to do a midweek or a Friday update, I can go through and do just a manual publish at that point. Okay, and now working with Revit. Let me get back to Revit here. To get your model up into the cloud, the first When you get your project team set up, it's very easy to get this out on the cloud. Typically, you have your model. I have a Revit model up here that is a non-BIM 360 model. It's the same model. The same exact way as you would for initiating work sets and saving a central model on your local network. It's the same exact way. You would go up to your Collaborate tab, and if it's I already have work sets enabled in this model. You can see here down at the bottom, I've got work sets set up. So once I have work sets already enabled, I can just go ahead and hit Collaborate in the cloud, and it's going to bring me to my BIM 360 document management. Now, BIM 360 Docs is capable with Revit 2018.3 and later. So 2018.3, 2019, and 2020. I'm currently in Revit 2020. Anything that's earlier than Revit 2018.3 and you want to be working in the cloud is actually the legacy A360 team site. So I'm in BIM 360. This is BIM 360 Docs. Go to your team hub. You'll notice that if you are an engineer and you're working with multiple architects, you'll see other architects' team hubs here. Make sure you're working in the right team hub. I'm going to go to ours, and then the project that you're working on, you'll see your full project list, and then your folder structure that you set up out in BIM 360. You would go and navigate to where you're setting up this model. I'm going to click on the electrical coordination, and then you just go ahead and hit initiate, and it's going to push this model up into the cloud and actually save the model from there on out into the cloud, so that at that point you can be working in the model in the cloud. Now here I actually have that model pushed up already, the one that I was showing. Now from working at this point forward, once you have the model up in the cloud, it works the exact same as you've always done with a local file where you've always had your central file on the server and you would create your local files on your desktop. Now, anytime you open up a BIM 360 model, that isn't the case. You just navigate to BIM 360 and you would open the model. Synchronizing is the exact same. You just typically want to make sure that you're pathed out to your actual BIM 360 project, your hub, your actual project, and then where your Revit model is located. And then you would go ahead and hit OK. And it's going to give you the same save to local, reload latest, save to central, and then save to local again. Always the same process. And you can see it's very quick. This is a decent sized electrical model with the actual architectural, structural, and other ones linked in. I just have them turned off in this view. Now, when you have your models out in the cloud and you find that you've accidentally uploaded something that you don't necessarily need, or you saved something onto document management, please keep in mind that you do not come out to the document management site, click out of here and delete, or do your model manipulation out here on the BIM 360 site. Please remember to go out to manage cloud models within Revit and do your managing of your models out here. So I'm going to go into this project out here into manage models, and there is actually other actions that you can do out here. And one of them is that's really nice, and this has saved me numerous times, is the view versions. Anytime that anybody synchronizes this model, it creates a version of this model under manage models, so that if for some reason you need to go back and pull up and restore one of these different versions, you can do that from within here within manage models. All you would do is you would click on restore, and it's going to give you the first warning. Do you really want to restore? Make sure everybody is out. You're the only person in here utilizing this function at this feature at this point. You would go ahead and hit restore and then say yes. I won't do it right now because I do not want to restore this. This is an actual project. And then it will restore to that previous version. It does it automatically for you. You will get an email notification once it has been restored that you can come back out here and open the model safely and view the information and make sure that it's the proper restored version. Now for the versioning control that is out on BIM 360 itself, you can see here there's 3 versions. This is actually the published versions of your model. So every time you hit publish or you have set up that automatic publish, anytime that publish gets sent or it's published, it creates a new version out here so you can actually see those different published versions. Now this is for those external team members or owners that need to see those different versions if they want to compare, you know, what happened between version 1 and version 23, how the model has progressed. They can actually use the compare versions function and select the 2 different models and actually go through and compare the different models. And that is for the published versions. Now out into Revit. The other thing that you can do in Manage Cloud Models, if you saw it before, is now you can force a relinquish from anybody that's on your team. That's actually, if you have 10 team members working on the same Revit model at the same time, and one team member leaves for the day and they forget to relinquish for the day, or they forget to save to central relinquish, you can actually come out here and you can force a relinquish from any team member that owns elements. You can see currently I have got no team members that own any other elements except for me. But if I did, I can actually force their relinquish. That way I don't have to call them or figure out a way to log onto the computer to relinquish, like we did in, I like to say, the old days back in when we had the central models on the server. You had to find a way to log on, relinquish their model, and then you can continue to work at that point. Or, you know, if they had to come back and relinquish for the day, yeah, there's a lot of fun workflows with all of that. So you can actually do that from within the cloud now, which is very nice. Being the admin on the project as well too, you can actually choose to publish all models instead of publishing single models individually. Within the Manage Cloud Models, you can go into your overall team, and then up in the top right, the actions, you can click to publish all. So that way you don't have to go through each one of these and click a manual publish button every single time. Just choose to publish all and send them all out for a manual publish. Okay, now the last thing that I do like to show is the Nextgen Coordinate, which is the BIM 360 coordinate out on the cloud. Let me pull this up here real quick. Out on their products on the BIM 360 homepage, you can see one of them is Coordinate. And the last thing that you can be doing as a design team with these Revit models is when you actually take these Revit models and underneath the document management, if you place the Revit models within the Plans Hub, I can come out here and I can show you how I have these set up underneath this project. I actually have the Revit models set up underneath the Plans Hub here. I create a subfolder in here called Model Coordination, and I actually publish my Revit models to the Plans aspect. Once I do that, what it actually does is it extracts automatically all the sheets that are within those Revit models and takes them and puts them in the plans portion here. So these are my Revit models here. So it extracts a default 3D view, and then also it extracts the sheets that are within that Revit model. So you can see here, when it's extracted, it has a Revit icon next to it that you can actually see that it's been extracted from that Revit model. And then once those if you have purchased the coordinate hub from Autodesk with your BIM 360 package, you can utilize this. You can put your Revit models up onto plans, and it's just, once they're up into plans, what it automatically does is it runs a clash detection automatically for you, just like you would on Navisworks or Glue. you would take your separate models from Navisworks and Glue, and you would run the clash detection, and you would create your viewpoints. This way, if you have them automatically up in plans, it's just a quick, let's post it out there, let's see what kind of clashes we get between all of your separate models. So you can see here, these are all the models that I have published up onto that plans portion, and I can go over to my clashes tab up at the top here, and it actually shows me between what model, and I can see that I have right here a clash group between my architectural, this is I think this is the exterior shell versus the interior design model that I actually have over 4,000 clashes in here. One of the ones that is good to show here is the architectural model versus the MEP design model. Being able to click on those two model clashes, what it did when it automatically ran these is it went through and created the viewpoint, found the clashes automatically for me, created the viewpoints within this coordinate hub here, and it's going to group all of those automatically for me. So in Navisworks, you always had to go through, create those, run the clash, append those models, or first append the models, run the clash, create the viewpoints, try to group them the best I could. So here you can see I literally just uploaded this today, really didn't do much setup. So now it's giving me all of the clashes with my assembled stair, or this assembled stair here. I got 3 clashes with assembled stair. I can click on that and it will highlight it for me, so I can actually see all of the different elements in here. And I don't have to have prior Navisworks experience, prior Glue experience. This is all very easy to learn and understand just by clicking around in here. So this, I like to equate that this is a really good clash detective for design teams that really just want to get in and understand very quickly what kind of clashes are going on within their design models throughout the design process. Now your GCs and your subcontractors, and you know, I do it on a regular basis now. I work with a lot of GCs and we still run Navisworks and Glue to be able to really fine tune some of these and still get some of the manipulation within Navisworks that we can. So within the Nextgen here, being on the design team, the architect, I can actually set this as, yes, this is an issue with my MEP. So I can actually create this as an issue. Who am I going to assign this to within the design team, and choose a date that they have to actually respond by. So this is all actually pulling directly from these Revit models, which is excellent. Just by placing those Revit models on the plans portion out here and having that quick functionality of being able to see what kind of clashes I'm getting and not have to manually dig through the Revit models in Revit, or just being able to utilize the coordination review out here and kind of seeing what interference checking. This is all still manual that I have to go through and check all of this stuff. So that Nextgen coordinate is very useful for those project teams to get a quick, really see what's going on in the design models as they're being progressed from SD all the way through CD into the IFC set. Okay, so I will open it up for Q&A. Does anybody have any questions of some of the stuff that I've covered, anything that I haven't covered from BIM 360 Design and Revit? I didn't see any questions pop up in the questions dialog box. Justinia, is there, can we unmute people now and maybe see if people want to vocally ask questions?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
I don't know if you want to do that. You're the, here, I'll just go ahead and manually unmute everybody. So I unmuted all attendees, if you feel free to unmute yourself if you've manually muted. Ask any questions. No questions? No issues?
Hi, Chris. This is Abra. I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm working on a project right now where we don't have updated Revit models, and we are importing or inserting the Navis models. And they're all loaded on BIM 360, but we're having trouble between each person using it. Every day we have to go back and reload it, like it swaps out to the other user, and then it's no longer in our file every morning. Do you know if there's a workaround that?
Are you guys utilizing the desktop connector?
I don't believe so.
So I don't have it loaded on my machine to be able to show you, but the desktop connector is actually awesome for this. This scenario in itself, because you can load, so I'm taking, is it NWC files that you guys have uploaded up to BIM 360?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're in that manage links aspect here and you go, underneath the insert and then the coordinate models here, when you go to add your models, when you download that, it's a free download from Autodesk. It's called Desktop Connector. You just download it, install it. It's awesome because it works the same way with CAD drawings too, that you can create that path and have it actually pass through the desktop connector that goes to BIM 360. That way, anybody that has a desktop connector and it's pathed properly, it should hold the paths for JPEGs, for CAD files and NWC files as well too. So I would try to, I'll see if I can send a link out to everybody that's on this list as well too, to a link to that desktop connector for everybody to download and install.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any other questions from anybody? Feel free to chime in at any point. Well, if there are no other questions today, always feel free to reach out to myself, Microdesk, email webinars@microdesk.com. Our website, go out to our website, give us a call. This webinar will be uploaded to our website and YouTube as well within, I believe it's a couple days. So we do have our own YouTube channel. You can connect with us on YouTube, LinkedIn, ask questions there as they come up. I myself do a ton of BIM 360 implementations and demos for firms across the country. So feel free to ask any questions as they come up. Did I miss anything, Jasenia?
Thank you, Chris.
Nope, we're all set. You'll also receive an email once that webinar is uploaded to our website. So just keep an eye out on that as well.
Yeah, everybody, thank you for attending and hope you guys got something out of it and wasn't too boring.
Hey, Chris, I thought of another question.
Oh, yeah, shoot, go ahead.
You were talking about with the publishing the files to the BIM 360. Is there a way that you can link it to Glue so every time Glue gets updated that it'll update your BIM 360 team account?
Ooh, so you're talking connecting your Glue model. Yeah, I don't think there's a way where if you set publish in Revit, it actually publishes it out to Glue. You still have to separately send things to Glue the way that it is.
Okay.
Good question though. I do work with Glue, and yeah, I do I've had to manually publish stuff a lot up to glue. Well, if there's no other questions, thank you, everybody. Hope everybody has a good rest of the day. Feel free to reach out to us if there's any other questions that pop up after this, and hopefully we'll talk to everybody soon.
Thanks for your time.
No problem. Thank you, everybody.